Why are we not full? If you don't practice what you have heard, you might as well not have heard it in the first place, for your belly will never be filled by stories of food alone. This beautiful and potent aphorism comes from the book Empty and Marvelous, Treasure Phrases of Korean Buddhism, selected by Master Yochon Mubi. And by now you have guessed it, what is the topic of today's video. Taking action over hoarding wisdom and knowledge. And if you're not a fan of Buddhism, that's okay. You can take a look at Stoicism. What does Epictetus say? Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Or put in modern language, less talk, more action. Marcus Aurelius says, don't talk about what a good man, or let's say a good person should be one. Or if you prefer Christianity, I believe it is James 1:22, you can check me on that. Be doers of the word, not only hearers, deceiving yourself. Don't hoard information, don't hoard knowledge, don't hoard what you perceive as wisdom. Because if you believe that what you are reading, the tradition that you are following is wisdom, then the biggest honor and service that you can do to that tradition, to that school of thought, to that religion, is to put it into practice. And that's what we are missing. That has always been missing from people's lives, because this is why it is found in all of these ancient texts. But it is missing today, I believe, more than ever, because today is the time when we have most information, most knowledge, and useful advice available to us. So we hoard it. We hoard it, and we fall into this trap of thinking that the more information that you have hoarded, the more bookmarks that you have made on your laptop, on your browser, the smarter you are, the more you are growing. And we talked in one of my very first videos on YouTube, that you should store the knowledge, information, and wisdom that you are consuming. You should store it somewhere. Because let's say the first step is purely consuming. So there is, in my language, I don't know if it translates well to English, this saying of it goes into one ear and goes out on the other ear. That's how most people consume information nowadays. They say that they are reading a valuable book, but show me where are your notes from that book. They say that they have listened to a valuable podcast or audiobook, but they, again, haven't made any notes from it. They haven't connected what they have heard or read to something other, some other resource that they have consumed. So first step is this passive consummation, that we trick ourselves into thinking that it's education. Oh, I have watched this documentary. Okay, so what have you learned from this documentary? Have you connected some ideas from that documentary to something happening in your life? Are you using in any way that which you are consuming throughout the most of your day and you call wisdom, knowledge, and valuable information? So let's say that the first step is passive consummation without any storing of the value that you have gained or the value that you could have gained. The next step is learning to store that value, but eventually beginning to hoard value. So at this point, I have fallen into this trap of thinking that me constantly consuming valuable information and saving it somewhere, making notes, is making me progress as a human being, which is a mistake, because the third step, the third level, what all these traditions are talking about, is putting something into practice. That's why also Epictetus says, show me someone who is actively forming himself or themselves, because we have ladies listening to this as well. Show me someone who is actively forming themselves into this person. Him talking about the Stoic ideal. So show me someone who is actively forming themselves. Don't show me those who have memorized the most. Don't show me those who are talking about it the most. Show me those who are actively forming themselves as individuals into the ideal that we are talking about. So at this stage, and with this message, we have no business talking about what your ideal is and what my ideal is. We have no business right now talking about Buddhism versus Christianity versus Islam. We have business talking about, are you putting into practice that which you perceive as wisdom, that which you perceive as highest ideals, highest values. So it's not about now debating what path you should follow. Are you actually walking any path? Or are you thinking about the path, talking about the path, reading about the path? This is the question that I have for you. This is the challenge that I pose for you. Let's put aside different traditions, different religions, different schools of thought, different philosophies. Maybe you're not a fan of the Stoics. Maybe you prefer the Epicureans, and they're supposed to be the rivals. But at this moment, don't tell me why this school of thought is better. Tell me, what are you practicing from this school of thought? Tell me, what from all of that wisdom have you integrated in your life? And here is a perspective shift that I propose. Personal progress is not measured by the amount of valuable, truly valuable life advice and insight that you have gained. It is measured by the amount of constructive and meaningful action that you are taking towards what you perceive as the good life. So take a moment to think about it. What meaningful and constructive action you are taking on the path that you have chosen, and path that you talk about so much, path that you read about so much, maybe the path that you are writing about so much. What meaningful and constructive action you are taking? Are you putting any of what you have learned into practice? And this goes for all of my content as well. I am not a leader of any school of thought, but I have been told by some of you, or a lot of you, that you find value in what I'm saying here. If there are things that I have written about or have talked about here that you perceive as truly valuable, and you believe they can take you at least one step forward towards being a better person and living a more fulfilled, meaningful life, tell me what that thing is, and most importantly, are you putting it into practice? And as always, this is not me preaching, this is not me giving you a lesson, this is not me calling you out. Maybe it's a little bit calling you out. But more than anything, this is a challenge. This is a friendly and brotherly challenge, because that's what people who care about you do. They challenge you. So my challenge to you is to take an honest look of how much action you are taking to put into practice that which you perceive as wisdom, that which you perceive as valuable information and knowledge that you have gained. That's it for today, tonight, or whenever you are watching this. I wish you a great rest of the day, or maybe a great sleep. And most importantly, I wish you to start taking constructive and meaningful action towards the life that you want to live and the life that you deserve to live. Comment, subscribe, like, let's get the discussion going. And as always, stay strong, love life, and never feel sorry for yourself. Thank you.